Hello everyone! The fourth video in the Coding Mission Control series is here. In this video, we'll show you how to create a game where you'll need to defend the Earth from incoming meteors. In this game, you will use the joystick to move the rocket, a button to shoot, and an encoder to choose between two different lasers. Before we begin, let's create a couple of sprites. First, let's create a sprite for our rocket. Set the dimensions to 20 x 26 pixels and start drawing. When you're satisfied with your drawing, type in the name Rocket and save the sketch before closing it. Now let's create a sprite for the meteors. Set the dimensions of this one to 40 x 40 pixels. When you're done drawing, type in the name Meteor and save the sketch. Now let's draw the sprites for our laser beams. Both of these will be 2 x 12 pixels. We'll make the first one white and name it Laser 1. The second one will be red and we can name it Laser 2. Great! Now let's start coding. First, let's create all the variables we'll need for this example. There's gonna be 13 of them. Now, let's define all of these variables at the start of our code, as shown here. Let's move on to the functions. This first function will draw the background, display the current score, and show the current state of your laser bar. The laser bar will indicate how many laser beams you can shoot at any point. It will gradually fill up over time, however, shooting laser beams will deplete it. This means that you won't be able to constantly shoot lasers, so be careful. If you miss a couple of shots, you won't have enough left to destroy the meteor. This function will also be used to write the final score after losing the game. To achieve all of that, put the following blocks. This next function will be used for drawing the rocket. You can simply name it Draw Rocket and set it up as shown here. We'll also need a function for drawing the lasers. Since we have two types of lasers, we'll need to define this function as shown here. The last object we need to draw is the meteor. So let's create another function and name it drawMeteor. You will need to hit each meteor a couple of times to destroy it, so we'll also need to keep track of its hit points. If a meteor gets destroyed, another one should be created and our current score should increase by 1. However, if the meteor touches the lower edge of the screen, the game is over. To define all of that, add the following blocks. Now let's create another function for detecting collisions between the meteor and our lasers. You can name this one collision detection. When a meteor gets hit, the amount of hit points it loses will depend on the type of laser that hit it. The red laser beam will be stronger, but it will deplete the laser bar faster than the white laser. To define all of that, add the following blocks. Great! Now let's define the last function, which will be used for changing the laser type. You can simply name it change laser and put the following blocks inside. Let's move on to the inputs. The pair button will reset the game after we lose, which means that most of these variables will need to be reset after we press it. Add the following blocks inside the when button pair pressed block. Now let's define the movement of our rocket. As we previously mentioned, we will be using the joystick. Add the when potentiometer joystick X moves block and set it up as shown here to define the horizontal movement. Now you can simply duplicate these blocks and adjust them as shown here to define the vertical movement of the rocket. The emergency button will be used for firing the laser. Here, we'll also define how much the laser bar should deplete depending on the type of laser we fired. To achieve that, put the following blocks inside. Finally, we'll use the camera encoder to change the type of laser we have selected, so add these blocks. Now we only need to add the loop forever block. Put the draw background, draw rocket, draw meteor, draw laser and collision detection functions inside. Also, don't forget to include the scan potentiometers, scan encoders, scan buttons, push frame and sleep 20 milliseconds blocks to ensure proper code execution. We're done with coding. If your code looks like this, you are ready to click on the Run button. Try moving the rocket with the joystick. When you place it in front of an incoming meteor, try pressing the emergency button to fire lasers. As you can see, the laser bar will deplete with every shot you fire. If you need more firepower, try changing the laser type by moving the camera encoder. As you can see, the laser bar will change color, indicating that the red laser is selected. Now, if you press the emergency button, your rocket will fire a red laser. Try to destroy as many meteors as you can before one of them touches the lower edge of the screen. How many meteors can you destroy? When you lose the game, press the pair button to try again. If you want to put the stock firmware back onto your device, you can simply go here and click on the Restore Firmware button.